You wake up every day dreading what's ahead of you because you can't even think about everything that you have to get done. You're just way too exhausted. You feel terrible literally all the time, and you've just been running on fumes. And you can't seem to get yourself into a place where you actually feel rested and feel good throughout the day. If you want to feel fresh, well rested, and rejuvenated, I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can do that. My name is Diana, and as somebody who has recovered from complete burnout while chasing my goals, I've learned many important lessons along the way of rebuilding my life. And I am here to help you avoid making the same mistakes that I made so that you can start enjoying your life sooner. You've probably tried many different things to feel better in your day-to-day life. Maybe you try to take some sleepy time tea or some supplements in order to sleep better, or some new vitamins, or drink some more coffee during the day to give you that extra pump. Or maybe you try to put your phone down when you work so that you can give your full attention to whatever it is that you're doing, since you are running on fumes and you don't want to waste any bit of energy that you actually have, all just so that you can feel better, so that you feel like you are still part of this productivity game. And it didn't work. You still woke up groggy. You still woke up feeling terrible. You still want to snooze your alarm 10 times every single morning. You still couldn't concentrate, still feel super foggy, and you still dreaded getting up every day to do all the things that you needed to do. But still to this day, despite all of that, you still wake up and do the things that you need to do because you want to feel productive. And you do work hard every single day. I know that. But what if I told you that this high achieving mentality is actually preventing you from getting exactly what you need? You have been taught either from other people's ideas or your own that you need to stay busy, that in order to get where you want to go, you constantly need to be working towards that, which makes sense because you do have big goals and they aren't just going to magically happen overnight without you doing anything. You can't just push them aside and expect to make progress, can you? So every time you get the urge to rest and reset, you can't help but think about how far behind you'll be if you do those things, to get the rest your body wanted, to step away from work for a bit. But you and I both know that. You do imagine, though, what it would be like to just be able to check out and step away from work for a few days, have nothing to do on your list, no obligations, no interruptions, just peace and quiet and rest. You know deep down it's exactly what you need, but you can't even think about neglecting your work. Well, I have good news for you. You're not alone in this. That is completely normal, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why you feel the way that you feel and how to finally get back to feeling 100% again. I know that you're a hustler. You have always been the type of person that wants to do as much as you can, whenever you can, because that's how you feel the most useful. And I know that about you because I used to be the same exact way. Running on 4 or 5 hours of sleep every night while working super long shifts, taking care of my dog, meal prepping, all of the adult things. But day after day of working like that with little to no sleep, started to make me feel so foggy. I found myself pushing through being tired because I felt obligated to get things done. I felt like I had to go all out every single day. And most of that was because of what I saw on social media. The David Goggins type of people. They're just always super hyped up all the time, talking about running marathons and not sleeping and just yelling at the camera. I would see people like that and think that's the kind of drive that I want. The drive where you just feel like a badass all the time, like nothing can stop you, like you're on top of the world. But then I started to notice something. I got to a point where I would sit down to try to get some work done and I couldn't even think. I would literally be so confused as to what I needed to do next or how I needed to do it. Literally nothing made sense. Everything felt like it was a foreign language. And this went on for months and months, maybe even years, of just always being confused about what I was doing. And I didn't understand why I wasn't making any progress as time went on. And this made me realize something. I was sitting down for 8, 10 hours, day after day, working as hard as I possibly could, trying to get everything done with whatever energy that I had, to only get about an hour's worth of work done. I was literally useless. So I decided that it was time to just try something new. I needed to figure out a way to start showing up ready and feeling good so that I could actually get things done. I wanted to reach my goals so badly that I was just sacrificing my overall well-being, what I needed, getting sleep. But I couldn't use making those sacrifices as an excuse anymore because now it was my work that was being sacrificed, which hit me like a ton of bricks. As someone that took pride in what she did every day and what she accomplished, how she showed up no matter what, I hate to admit this, but I was wrong. I thought I was doing the best for myself by showing up no matter what, that my determination would one day just be rewarded by the universe. like it would gift me with everything that I wanted if I kept making sacrifices. I decided it was time to make a pact with myself. I was going to prioritize my rest. I was going to start taking care of me, and work was going to become second. So I was going to test that out for a little while. After prioritizing my rest for 30 days, I learned something that completely changed my outlook on productivity. Really quick, if you are finding this useful so far, don't forget to subscribe so that you can see my next video about recovering from burnout. This is what I did to start prioritizing myself in my day-to-day life. First was I turned off all of my alarms. Second was I only worked when I felt rested. And third was I put no more pressure on myself as far as how much work I got done during the day. So first, with turning off all of my alarms, this meant no more waking up super early just to have more time to get things done. I used this extra time in the morning to really get the rest that I needed. I would still work on my to-do list, but I just didn't get up early to do it. I would show up only when I was well rested. And this is what that meant. It meant that instead of showing up at 20% every single day to do the things I needed to do, I would show up closer to 80%. And having less time in the mornings to work on the things I needed to work on didn't mean anything because I worked better, because I was more well rested and I could do more in a shorter amount of time. I didn't need hours every morning to get the things done that I needed to get done. Things took half the amount of time because I showed up better, all from turning my alarm off in the morning. So this brings me to the second thing that I started doing. I only worked when I was rested. Now, this doesn't mean completely neglecting my work unless I was 100%. But if I go sit down and I look at my list and I decide on what I'm going to work on for the day, and as I start working on it, the creativity isn't flowing. I'm feeling like a mental block, and there's some sort of mental obstacle on what to do. I just won't work then. Now, this doesn't mean just say F it and not do anything for the rest of the day. I will step away from what I'm doing, do something else for a little while, and try again in a little bit. And I will do something in the meantime of that to gain some clarity, whether that's going on a walk, taking a shower, cleaning, and if I'm really just drained and can't even think straight, I might even take a nap. This would give me a chance to reset before tackling my work again. And third, I put no pressure on myself as to how much I got done. This meant focusing more so on the quality of what I was doing instead of the quantity. My priority became to show up the best that I could and give my full attention to whatever I was doing in the moment. If I had a list of 10 things to do, I wouldn't beat myself up for only getting 2 or 3 things done because my priority was to just show up the best that I could. When I used to give myself permission to just show up in whatever way, not really caring about the quality of work that I was doing, just to check things off my to-do list, I noticed something. I was rushing through my projects. I was just throwing things together, and I wasn't being intentional about what I was doing. I just wanted to be able to check things off my list to relieve that pressure that I was putting on myself. But when I decided to no longer put pressure on myself as far as what I was doing or getting done, I realized something. My work was getting better. I felt better about what I was putting out. And I really started to see more progress so much faster than I did in the past. It was worth doing a few things really well rather than just throwing a bunch of things together just so that I could call it done. It's important to remember that you are not a machine. And even though you want to work hard to get things done and get to that part of the journey where you're the hero, where you've accomplished the things that you have set out to do, it isn't worth feeling like shit the entire time. You can still show up and give it your all, while also taking care of yourself in the process. You don't have to run yourself into the ground just to prove a point to people that you don't even know or really even care about. Your head is telling you to sacrifice your overall well-being just to be able to live up to these standards that society tells you to flex on people on social media. Focus on yourself, on getting mental and physical rest, so that when you show up, you're not wasting your time by just staring at your to-do list, lost and confused because of how mentally foggy you are and how you've become a shell of a human. Prioritize getting rest, prioritize taking care of yourself so that you can show up stronger in what you're doing every day. If this video helped, leave a comment below and tell me one thing that you're going to start doing in order to take care of yourself and prioritize yourself every day. Now that you know the truth about how important it is to take care of your overall well-being while chasing your goals, the real question is, are you actually going to do these things? I'll see you all in the next one.